have on the phone Congressman Ronny Jackson with us this morning. Congressman, are you there?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
I'm wonderful, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I'll tell you, life has gotten a little exciting in Washington the last couple of days. Not that it wasn't already, but I was talking earlier this morning about the Biden administration seemingly kind of falling back on, maybe we do need to build a border wall. But before we get into that, and we really hadn't, you and I have not talked prior to this morning about any of this, but welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on the air with us. The Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, was booted out earlier this week, and someone I think that you're supporting is stepping up to run for the speakership, correct?
That's right, Jim Jordan. Yep, that's absolutely right.
Yeah, well, so let me ask you, first of all, there's been a lot of talk in the media the last couple days about all the turmoil that this is throwing the House into, and Republicans, this is going to cost them dearly, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff that's going on and on and on. Do you see this as a disastrous thing for the Republican Party or for the House of Representatives, or is this an opportunity in some way? How do you view this?
Well, no, Mike, I think you're absolutely right. I see this as an absolute opportunity. We have a chance to completely recalibrate now. There were some serious issues involving Kevin McCarthy, some that were not fixable. Mm-hmm. There were a certain number of people in our conference that had no trust, that did not trust Kevin. I mean, there was a complete lack of trust from, certainly the 8 that voted to oust him, but the number was larger than that had a real trust issue with him. And he wasn't going to be able to repair that. I mean, he was almost a year in, and so it didn't matter what he said. He wasn't going to be able to effectively lead the party. I tell people all the time, it's like trying to hit a fastball with a broken bat. You can try all day, but you're not going to hit that ball with a broken bat. Yeah. We had to have a new bat. So we're going to get an opportunity to get a new speaker now. Kevin, did some good things, but Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan are both significantly more conservative than Kevin was even. So I see it as a great opportunity to end up with a speaker that's even more conservative than the one that we had, and somebody who potentially doesn't have the baggage that McCarthy had with these broken promises and this lack of trust with some of these members, to bring the conference together and get us all on the same page. And I think, Jim Jordan and Steve Scalise can both do that. I think they're both great guys, and I think, if either one of them ended up being our speaker, I'd be happy with it. But Jim Jordan, I think, has the ability to do it best. And I think if we want to get the absolute best speaker we can get right now, that man is Jim Jordan.
Well, now there is something happening next week to this end, correct? There's going to be some movement on was it Tuesday?
That's right. Yeah, I just literally got back to the district yesterday, and I'll be heading back first thing Monday morning. Mm-hmm. We'll be meeting Monday, and we'll have a candidate forum where the Republican conference will get together and interview. And discuss at great lengths with the candidates, those two in particular. And there's a third person, Kevin Hearn from Oklahoma, who's thinking about throwing his name in the hat. If he does so, he'll be part of that. We'll talk to them about where they stand, and everybody will be able to ask them any questions they want on any issue that comes up. And then we'll have a series of ballots within our conference where we will try behind closed doors to come up with a single candidate that we want to bring to the floor on Wednesday and vote on. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It didn't really happen last time. We got most of the people were on board with the same person last time, but not everybody was. And so when you go to the floor, any member can bring up any person's name. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I could nominate you for speaker. You don't even have to be in the House. So anybody could bring up a name, and then that person will, hit that vote will be tallied, in their favor. So just because we get behind closed doors on Monday and try to do this doesn't mean that we're going to come out unified with one particular person. But hopefully we can. I mean, that's the idea. But I don't think that'll happen. I think we'll end up going to the floor, and we'll still have a couple of names out there. We'll have a multiple vote series, and eventually people will kind of see the writing on the wall, and they'll see who's got the momentum and who doesn't. And, people will change their votes and hopefully start coalescing around a single candidate. But, the reality is the Democrats aren't going to vote for either one of them. We have a 4-seat majority now. It was a 5-seat. We have a 4-seat majority now, and I'm not sure if Kevin McCarthy is going to be there or not. That would be 3 if he's not there for some reason. But so that means every single Democrat, is going to vote against them. That means every single Republican has to vote for the same person, or we can't elect the speaker. So we are going to have to be united in picking this person, or it's not going to happen.
Well, do you think there's a good chance that the Republican Party in the House is going to come together this way and realize, look, we need this. We need a strong person in this role. Let's get this done. Let's get back to the business of running the House.
Well, I hope so, because the alternative is horrible. The alternative is that eventually some of the more centrist people in our party, some of the Republicans in our party that are much further to the left than I am, i.e. the Democrats from New York, or the Republicans from New York, I'm sorry, who are very centrist. Mm-hmm. If they wanted to, they could get together with Democrats, and Democrats could elect one of them. So we could have one of these centrist, very, I would say, much more liberal Republicans than myself. We could have one of them elected, because they would have 5 or 6 Republicans in that part of the party that would vote for that particular person, and they would get all the Democrats to vote. Now, if that happened, there would be all kinds of bad things going on behind the scenes. Mm. There would be all kinds of deals being made about changing the House rules and basically getting rid of the Select Committee on Weaponization of Government, putting Adam Schiff back on Intel. Just a whole variety of things that would just be, horrible. And, getting rid of any of the impeachment inquiry would go away completely. All this kind of stuff, that would be part of the deal for the Democrats to vote for one of those Republicans. And so that's still something that's out there. And I think every Republican that doesn't want to see that happen, which I think would be, easily 90% of our party, that would be worst case scenario. It would be an absolute disaster for our country. We need to all make sure that we're keeping that in the back of our minds, and that we get together and that we pick somebody that we pick, not that the Democrats have any role in picking.
It sounds like all of the House Republicans across the country, their constituents need to be burning up the phones and the emails over the next couple of days, and getting some attention and making sure that that does not happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They need to be telling them, like, you better pick somebody that that represents us and our conservative values, and not somebody that the Democrats have any role in selecting. Because if you see Democrats voting for somebody and it looks like this person's going to get elected with some Democrat votes, that means that deals have been made.
Well, I want to move on to the border here real quick, if we could. It's a dumpster fire, to put it mildly. We've had hundreds of thousands of people come across our border in just the last few weeks, few months. I mean, it's ridiculous. We've got millions of people in our country that we don't even know where they are. We don't know what they're doing. We've heard horror stories from the border, and now all of a sudden, am I to understand that the Biden administration is actually wanting to do something with regard to a border wall?
Well, they don't want to do anything, and they want the message out there that they're doing something about it. They realize that they're in a horrible position. I mean, I was there just a little over a week ago, and they're getting beat up by mayors from these blue cities. Someone said that like 10, something like it might have been 10 buses showed up yesterday in New York, which I'm encouraging. I mean, keep sending people up there, because that's the only reason that this has got any attention, was because places like New York and Chicago suddenly started getting some immigrants in their city, and suddenly started looking around and going, well, where are we going to put all these people? Well, what do you think we're doing here in Texas? They're going crazy because they get 1,000 people. We get that many crossing the border in an hour, and so, I think that the Democrats are suddenly feeling a lot of heat from within their own party. I say the Democrats at the White House, but the Biden administration is feeling all this heat from within their own party. So they have to at least create the image that they're doing something about what's going on. So they don't want to build a wall. They're just saying they're going to build this wall so that people will say, okay, look, they're finally doing something about it. They're going to start the construction of the border wall again. They're not going to. They're going to build some completely ineffective fence. It's not going to be the border wall that Trump was building. It's going to be something that's just a complete waste of money. They're going to start doing that, and they're saying now that they're going to start deporting people, especially from Venezuela. Well, they're not going to deport anybody. They're just saying this stuff, and if they do deport anybody, they're just going to bring 10 or 20 more over for every person they deport. That's what's happening right now. I mean, the border was 226,000 people just the last month. It's insane. That's 250,000 people coming across a month. It's unsustainable. I mean, it's going to destroy this country.
If people get this in perspective out there, if you live in Wichita Falls, that's more than double the population of this city that came across that
in
border
1 month.
In 1 month.
And that's just the ones we know about, Mike. I mean, those are the ones that we encountered. Those are the ones that walked up and gave themselves away. The reality is there's tons and tons of them that we see on cameras that we have no interaction with. Those are called the gotaways. And then let's be honest, but beyond that, there's a whole bunch of them we never even saw. You know, when I was down there on the border at Eagle Pass the other day, I was talking to these guys, and they said you should understand that 99% of every resource that we have, equipment and personnel and everything, is right here at Eagle Pass, trying to control the mass number of people that are coming across the border, coming through the razor wire, coming over the tops of the Connex boxes, pouring into the border, and giving themselves up. 99% of every resource they had was, in that sector was right there. And they said, I say that because you have to know that that we have 60 miles of border to the right of us and 60 miles to the left of us that is completely unpatrolled right now. No one knows what's happening out there. Wow. So the sex traffickers, the drug traffickers, the cartel members, that they're taking full advantage of that, and they're bringing tons of stuff in and out of this country that's going to destroy this country, while the Border Patrol are completely occupied with the overwhelming number of people crossing, giving themselves up.
I've been telling people for, several years now on the air, because I'm hearing it from people that I've talked to, law enforcement officials and others on the border that I've talked to over the years, and they all keep telling us the same thing. We are in trouble down here. We're overwhelmed. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough assets. We don't have enough anything on this border. We just don't have enough of anything to do the job, and we're getting zero help here in the last 3 years out of Washington. Biden gets elected, and they just cut off everything. And as a matter of fact, I've read, and help me if you can confirm this for me, I have read and been told that the administration has actually sold off materials that were intended for border wall construction just so we couldn't have those materials available to build a border wall. Is that right?
Oh, yeah. The stuff that they're putting up now, they're talking about putting up now, this new money that they said that they have to appropriate for the border wall, that's something new. The other stuff that's been sitting out in the desert rusting and stuff, they've been selling that stuff off for pennies on the dollar for years now, just trying to get rid of it. I mean, just a complete waste of taxpayer money. I mean, it literally, the estimates are, and these are accurate estimates, these have been done by, by people that crunch the numbers, is it would have cost less money to take that material that was already there at the border and actually construct the wall with it than it would to try to sell it and get it removed and taken away. So they could have built the wall cheaper than what it cost them to get rid of the materials. And now we're having to go back, and they're going to appropriate some more money, to build whatever little fence they're going to put up and make it look like they're doing something.
Well, I do hope that as we get into 24, as we get into this next election season and cycle, that Republicans absolutely use every bit of this against the Democrats, because they have created this mess for us. And they've taken a problem that's been there for a while. I mean, illegal border crossings is nothing new. This has been going on for a long time, but it has clearly worsened and been exacerbated by the actions of this administration.
Absolutely, Mike, and don't let them fool you. If you hear people saying that the Democrats are trying to give more money, for the border, because we're cutting money in our appropriations bills. All of our appropriations bills, we're cutting spending, right? And what they want to do is they want to dump a whole bunch more money into the Department of Homeland Security and into the quote, Customs and Border Protection. But you can't give them money for that. Like if we gave them money and they were going to use it to actually secure the border, every Republican in the House would be all for that. But what they want to do is they want to hire more Border Patrol agents and more, lawyers and more judges and everything else so that they can process more people and they can process them faster. So you can't even give the Biden administration money to address the border because they're going to use it to make the situation worse.
Wow. Congressman Ronny Jackson, our guest this morning, we appreciate you being with us. Is there anything else that you'd like to talk about this morning that I have failed to bring up?
I can't think of anything, Mike. I mean, that's those are the two topics of the day. I'll let everybody know. I'll get back on your show here at the end of the week maybe and give everybody an update on where we're at with,
yes.
It'll play out on TV, but I'll be happy to come back and talk about what happens this coming week, and hopefully it'll be good news.
Well, we look forward to having you back on, and we wish you success in Washington always. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, you let us know.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate being on, as always.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Have a great day, and have a safe trip back to Washington, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Congressman Ronny Jackson, our guest this morning.